Hello, trading is closed on July 10th, 2019. We'll go over yesterday's calls in just a minute. We're going to change the order. Today over here, MEJT gave a buy signal and an ultimate buy signal, but also said optionally lower targets would print, and that's already happened, which doesn't help us for tomorrow. It's too bad Tom DeMark's stuff doesn't work the way it used to, because we're on bar 13 of a weekly sequential sell and bar 13 of a combo sell. If this thing still worked, I'd be all over it. I'm just going to say the signal's there, just don't know if I can trust it. Well, now it's time to go over our calls. I got some comments. No one could hear me when I'm talking, so I wrote everything out. These are the calls in gray that we had before, and the blue will be today's. And maybe if I'm not easily understood, people can just read this. We had a volatility sell signal, and actually that's still active. It means that there's an overabundance of optimism among option players. We said rallying all day from an early low to a late high is usually positive. Higher prices should print unless we gap down. They did. So without an early drop, prices should close positive majority of times. They did. But I was hoping to see a straight line move down anyway. All through the night in futures, looks like I was going to get what I wanted. But after the announcement implying that interest rates were going to drop, we gapped sharply in the undesired direction. The standard rule is that kills the call, in this case the hope, before the open. We had this pattern of a cup with an upsloping handle, and that call failed. We'll go over the reasons behind tomorrow's call in just a minute. The gap up killed the call for the early drop. We did print higher. The upsloping handle pattern failed. We gapped up, new high. We couldn't hold on to two prior highs. That's a negative pattern. Unless this high falls early, we should see lower prices tomorrow. Doesn't mean you have to close lower, but it's negative. It means it's a rejection of this new high. Tomorrow's open, and shortly thereafter is a substitute for today's close. And if we break to a new high, that's good. Now this pattern typically hits the high of the day in the final hour. When it doesn't, it's negative. Taking out the high of day early tomorrow negates the signal, and tomorrow's pattern has the early low. Now we're trying to find the top of this blue B. I can make it count on this time frame, the daily chart. And frankly, if I go to the smaller degree waves, like 5 minutes, I can make this high work as a possible top, but it's not very impressive. Really don't believe it. If we drop, I can show it. If not, it just isn't worth showing. Well, this was the count we had yesterday. It was a pretty beautiful count. I said it may fail. It did. It really would have been nice because this worked better than today's highs work, and that's why I'm not going over the count I came up with. Well, here we have our inverted diamond on stilts pattern. Here's the height of the diamond, and you can see the Fibonacci targets right over here. Here's the origin of the left stilt, and that's holding as support. Now, as you've said before, this is a support resistance area. This is the target of this pattern. If we don't take it out promptly, it should see lower prices. If we hold the origin of the left stilt as support, it suggests we are going to take this out and go up. If this becomes resistance, if it is compatible with the theory, we're going to see lower prices. And if we undercut the average true range of today's bar, which would be yesterday's close, that gives the trader Vic 2B sell in an overbought area. And if that happens, further declines are likely. Tomorrow's pattern has the early low. Bulls need to clear this high early, or else lower prices should print. If we take out yesterday's low, particularly not yesterday's low, close, and particularly if we close under it, then breaking out to this new high, closing under all these highs is negative, and the drop should start. I don't think it pays to guess on these things, but I think it was a much better case to be made for this low holding than this one. But if we do drop and undercut this, I can explain this after the fact. That's today's call.